It was the kind of afternoon that smelled faintly of cut grass and sun-warmed benches. The kind of afternoon where the world slows down, just a little, for those who are paying attention. I remember that day clearly. I had taken a different route home, cutting through the old park behind the library, the one with the cracked fountain and the creaky swings that still whispered childhood laughter, and that's where I saw him. A man, old and still as stone, sitting on a bench, like he'd been waiting a long time, not for someone in particular, but maybe just for a conversation. Hello and welcome to Everyday Epiphany, where simple stories spark soulful insights. Sit back, enjoy the journey, and may it brighten your day. At first, I passed him without a thought. Just another senior enjoying the sun, I figured. But then I noticed something, the way he held his hands. Not folded neatly, not relaxed, but clasped tight, like he was holding on to something invisible. Something important. Curiosity has a way of pulling us toward the unexpected, doesn't it? So, I slowed down, offered a small nod, and he nodded back. And I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was the way the world felt unusually quiet, but I sat down beside him. We didn't speak right away. The silence was comfortable, like the kind you find in libraries or around campfires. Finally, he broke it. "You ever feel like your stories don't matter anymore?" he asked, his voice like gravel wrapped in velvet rough, but somehow soft. I hesitated, unsure how to answer. "Sometimes," I said. "But I think they do. Maybe they just need the right ears." He smiled, just barely. Most people walk past, they see the gray hair, the cane, and assume the story's already over. But there's always a chapter folks don't read. And just like that, the dam broke. He told me about a girl he danced with in 1962, how she wore yellow and laughed with her whole face. About the bakery he worked in after the war, and how the smell of rising dough still sneaks up on him in the mornings. About losing friends too early and dreams too late. But it wasn't sad, not really. It was layered. Like peeling back pages of a worn novel you'd never noticed on the shelf. And I realized something. We're surrounded by living libraries, people who hold entire lifetimes inside them, just waiting to be asked. He told me that once, he'd wanted to be a poet. But I never found the right words. He chuckled. Turns out, living was the poem. That line stuck with me. We must have sat there for nearly an hour, trading stories like old coins. Before I left, I asked his name. "Walter," he said, "but you can just call me Walt. Everyone used to." I shook his hand, warm, calloused, steady, and promised to sit again sometime. He nodded. "Next time, I'll tell you about the time I almost met Elvis." That evening, back home, I picked up Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch album. I'd read it years ago, but something about Walter made me want to revisit it. There's a line in that book I'd underlined the first time I read it, but never really understood until now. When you learn how to die, you learn how to live. Walter hadn't said it in so many words, but the sentiment was the same. In every story he shared, there was this quiet courage, not in having all the answers, but in having lived enough to stop needing them. I think we spend so much of our lives looking ahead, chasing what's next, what's new, that we forget the gold resting quietly behind us. And sometimes, right beside us. The truth is, every elderly person you pass on the street, Every slow-moving walker, every quiet soul sitting alone, is a living novel, a treasure chest of stories, worn down by time but polished by experience. All it takes is a question, a little time, and a willingness to listen. We don't always need advice. Sometimes, what we need is to hear someone say, "This is what I lived, this is what I learned." Maybe it means something to you. And if you're lucky, like I was that afternoon in the park, you'll find someone like Walt, someone whose life and its quiet dignity teaches you that being heard is sometimes the most sacred gift of all. So, next time you see someone sitting alone, don't just walk by. Sit, ask, listen. Because stories don't get old. They just wait for someone to listen. Thank you for being here with us at Everyday Epiphany. If today's story touched your heart or sparked a thought, subscribe and stay with us. Your next epiphany might just be one story away.